Well, hello there. How about some cookies? There's plenty of rejects in the trash.
Who are you?
That's a fine way to talk to your mother.
You're my mother?
That's right. Though sometimes I get treated like the hired help around here.
I don't remember you.
Of course you don't. Until you need your socks washed.
No, you don't understand. I can't remember where I am or even who I am.
Land's sake, stop your joshing, won't you? Honestly, Steve, I thought you'd grow up a little after graduation. I only hope that new job will plant your feet on the ground.
So that's my name. Steve.
Your name will be M.U.D. Mud if you don't stop teasing me, young man.
Listen, this may sound strange, but I've lost my memory. Do you believe me?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I'm serious.
Sure, and next you'll be telling me you don't remember Hank and your little sister.
Sister?
Shh, you'll wake her. She'll just want to eat again. With this nonsense, you're crazier than Sparky down at the firehouse.
Fine. Maybe I am crazy. I can't rule that out. Why can't you just help me a little? Is that too much to ask?
Now you've done it. Are you happy? Poor baby. There. Did your brother scare you? Let me see. Darn that wasp woman! She's a monster, that's what she is! Who cares about that prancing, fire hydrant squatting sissy boy right now? Your sister's eaten a tarantula and you're still fooling around!
If she's my sister.
Enough! Go bother Hank or Stephanie, why don't you? I'm trying to bake cookies!
The bake sale is on Friday, and yet you're baking the cookies now.
Never put off till tomorrow what you can do today.
But they'll be stale by then.
That's why I'm throwing them away.
And then cooking more?
To replace the ones I throw out.
Why?
Well, I have to. No one's going to pay to eat stale cookies out of the garbage can.
But you expect me to?
Of course not, Steve. I wouldn't charge you. I'm your mother. Help yourself.
What charity is this bake sale supposed to benefit?
It'll help provide a fund for bums and hobos who wander into harvest and have no family ties.
Kind of a specific target group, isn't it?
You have to pay attention to detail when dealing with such people.
I don't know what you mean.
You will. The whole thing has been organized by the lodge.
Tell me more about this bake sale. Why is it so important?
As I told you, many unfortunates who come to harvest end up needing financial help.
Why is that the town's problem?
It's not a problem, so long as those folks are taken care of. It's the will of the lodge.
What lodge?
The Hall of the Order of the Harvest Moon, Steve. It's just the finest place in Harvest, and the most exclusive.
What's so great about it?
Hard to say, since hardly anyone gets inside. But it wouldn't be so exclusive if it wasn't just wonderful. Just like the new Reynolds dishwasher with their patented auto-dry process, TM. I've never used one, but I know I want it. Instead of sulking around the house all day, why not walk over to the lodge and apply for membership? That's wonderful, Steve. If you got into the lodge, you'd be the talk of Harvest. Harvest is a town unlike any you've ever known.
In what way?
I don't have time to go into it now. Why not take a walk around town and pester someone else? I'm busy. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
What? Leave me alone, Steve, or I'll tell Mom on you. Mom's in the kitchen, and if you bug me, I'll call her.
Look, do you know me?
Wish I didn't, 'cause then you wouldn't be my brother, and I'd have your room, and all the presents at Christmas. Though I will soon enough anyway, 'cause you're a lousy rat.
You're my brother?
No, duh.
Listen, I don't mean to, bug you, but I can't seem to remember anything. Will you please just tell me who you are?
Mom, Steve is bugging me.
Steve, leave Hank alone right now.
Steve, are you talking to me?
Yeah, only I don't want to be, 'cause I'm trying to watch my cowboy show.
I'm sorry. Look, I'm telling you, I need your help. I've lost my memory.
Have not. Cut it out.
I'm telling you the truth.
You always were a kidder, Steve. Leave me alone. I'm sick.
Have you noticed that your show is in black and white?
What else? Color? On a TV?
Well, I think I've seen a colored television before.
Have not. Quit it or I'm gonna tell.
Hey, look at that. Your mother lets you watch this stuff?
Sure. This is part of history. What made America great. And besides, blood and guts are neato. I'm glad you're catching on, Steve. You're not too bad for a lousy rat.
What's wrong with you?
I got a headache and a stomachache.
Then why aren't you in bed?
'Cause I wanna watch my cowboy show.
You look alright to me.
I'm not faking. I couldn't go to school because I'm sick. Daddy's sick in bed too. And Mom believes me anyway. So shut up.
Your dad is asleep?
He and Mom went at it last night pretty hard. He stayed in bed. I saw what she did to him. It was pretty bad.
What did she...
Like you don't know. I saw you and her on the couch last Wednesday night. Guess that's why she's grounded now. Huh. Too bad you wouldn't pay me and I had to tell. Huh.
What are you talking about? What girl?
What? Is there another one too? Wait till I tell.
I don't know what girl you're talking about.
All summer, it's been Stephanie this and Stephanie that. And now you don't remember? You think I'm dumb or something?
No, I just can't remember anything, like I said.
Well, you better remember quick, 'cause the wedding's in 2 weeks.
What?
Leave me alone so I can watch TV!
That's a weird-looking television. Come to think of it, this whole place looks totally retro.
What do you mean, retro? All TVs look alike.
Sure, basically. But this is one old-fashioned clunker.
Old-fashioned? What's that?
Now that I think about it, I can't remember.
And what was that you said about retro rockets?
No, retro, it means... Oh man, I know what I mean. That everything here is wrong. But I can't picture the difference.
Then shut up and quit bugging me. I'm watching my cowboy show. Good. Finally. Hey Steve, I'm Jimmy James. Remember me?
I guess not.
Hey Steve, you've been doing a swell job putting the paper out in the morning. You just keep doing that and we won't have any problems. That's not much to ask, is it? See you later, alligator.
Only initiates may enter the Hall of the Order of the Harvest Moon.
Did you... say something?
I did not speak, but my mind touched yours.
Telepathy? But how?
Only those who seek enlightenment warrant my attention. Do you hunger for true knowledge? There are always obstacles to the path. You must first fill out an application to be considered for initiation into the mysteries. Members of the Order are privy to many hidden truths.
Such as...
They know what the trees whisper to the wind to make it howl. They know what the worm knows as it squirms in a rotting leg. They know what you've forgotten. When you find the path, truth will be revealed to you. When you possess the truth, you will know what you knew. And if anything remains forgotten, then it was never worth the knowing.
There he is, my future son-in-law. And how's he doing today? What brings him to the Potsdam household, huh? Huh? What a card.
Would I kid about something like that? Why won't you believe me?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Your mother just telephoned us about your latest shenanigans. Isn't that right, Mrs. Potsdam?
Sure did, Mr. Potsdam. You little rascal.
Imagination's a swell thing to have, in small amounts. Man needs to keep his feet on the ground, especially if he's getting married. Tell me, is your father feeling better? Is he going back to the slaughterhouse anytime soon?
This is sick. I'm supposed to marry this Stephanie and I don't even know who she is.
Now look, Steve, a joke is all well and good, but don't go scaring me like that.
I'm not joking.
Now look, a commitment is a commitment. You're going to marry my daughter. We'll be one happy family, and your dad's going to give me all the meat I want. Right? Right? Well, don't look at me. Mrs. Potsdam wants Stephanie to study hard for her finals. If it was up to me, you could go straight upstairs, but you know, the little woman, you'll have to ask her permission to see Stephanie. Sorry, Steve. The last thing I want to do is upset you and your father before the wedding. Not with the meat at stake. You will remind your dad about the meat. Won't you?
Tell me about this wedding.
Well, it looks like we're going to have to hold the wedding down at the funeral parlor, since I'm not a member of the lodge. Mr. Moynihan has given his okay, and your father is going to cater the affair with plenty of meat.
Why are you so anxious to get into the lodge?
There's wonders inside. I've heard there's more meat in there than they know what to do. Now that you're of age, Steve, you might go down to the post office and fill out a lodge application. They're always looking for new blood. Meat is the foundation of any decent society. Everyone needs at least 3 servings of red meat a day. And anyone who says otherwise is a commie. And once you're married to Stephanie, I'll be part of the family too. And your father will give me all the meat I want. Kind of makes up for not getting into the lodge.
I haven't seen my father. He's locked in a room.
He's not going to die, is he?
Like I said, I don't know. That woman, Mom, tends to him herself.
Well, next time you see him, be sure to tell him that I said hello. And tell him that I'm praying for his speedy recovery. And also, would you remind him about the meat? Especially about the meat.
Yeah, fine. If I see him.
You should be more concerned. If he dies, then who's going to take over the slaughterhouse? Who's going to tend to the meat? I guess as his son, you'd take over. Right? I can't imagine a better job than working in a slaughterhouse. Sure, it'd be just dandy, and you can't argue with success. Everyone in Harvest gets their meat from your dad. What a grand business to go into. Oh, sure, cutting animals open may not be much fun. Reaching into their bodies and yanking out the bloody guts, intestines dangling and slapping against you, the smell of death and shit in your nostrils all the time. Well, those are all definite cons. But once you're done, the guts have been washed into the gutters. What are you left with? Meat. Rows and rows of scrumptious red meat.
Hello, Steve. Have you flossed today? Honestly, you men can insult a woman without even knowing you've done it. What a horrible thing to say.
You're both standing around baking cookies. Same cut of dress. Same pearls. So bizarre.
There's nothing bizarre about baking cookies.
The Harvest Charity Bake Sale is Friday, you know, and by gosh, Mrs. Marvin Potston Jr. can be counted on to do her share. Just because I'm doing housework doesn't mean I have to be a drudge. It's a wife's duty to look good for her husband at all times. What's wrong with wearing pearls, for heaven's sake?
Nothing, but you look like June Cleaver. Some kind of sitcom mom.
Sitcom?
Geez, you know, a situation comedy. The weird part is, I can't remember how I know that.
I'm much too busy with housework to watch TV. Maybe Mr. Potsdam would know about sitcoms. Stephanie doesn't watch TV, though. She's grounded. Mr. Potsdam feels there's too much at stake to allow Stephanie to run around loose.
She doesn't want to get married either, huh?
Are you saying you don't want to marry my daughter?
I don't know your daughter, Mrs. Potsdam. Why is she grounded? Afraid she'll run away before the wedding?
No! She's as delighted as we are about the wedding, every bit as delighted as we are. But she might get hit by a car, or a falling piano, or who knows what. Mr. Potsdam wants us all to be one happy family, and he doesn't want to risk anything happening at the last minute. I don't see any reason why not. You mustn't be too hard on Mr. Potsdam, Steve. He's a disappointed man. No matter how many lodge admission forms he fills out, they keep turning him down. He has a new application in, though, so keep your fingers crossed. If he joins the lodge, you and Stephanie can have your wedding in the Chapel of Love rather than over at Moynihan's place.
What can you tell me about the lodge?
Just that they're exclusive and secretive. If you're curious, you ought to pick up a lodge application at the post office and take it over to the Sergeant-at-Arms. Isn't that a thought? Forget Mr. Potsdam. If you became a member of the order, we could hold the wedding inside the lodge. My, wouldn't that be lovely?
Tell me about this wedding.
Well, it's set for 3 weeks. We're holding it over at Shady Oaks, Mr. Moynihan's funeral parlor.
Say what?
Now, I know it's not a very romantic place, but there's nowhere else to hold it, thanks to Mr. Potsdam. Mr. Moynihan runs the Wayward Hotel and the Shady Oaks funeral parlor. It's rumored he has connections with the lodge, but the order keeps that kind of thing secret. So Mr. Potsdam has tried to get him to put in a good word for his lodge application, but so far... Give my regards to your parents. Hello, dear. Come to see Stephanie, have you? She's upstairs. Go right on up. Just remember, she's grounded until the wedding. Give my regards to your parents.
Who are you? What are you doing in my room?
Haven't you heard? We're getting married.
So, you're the one. Steve, isn't it?
You mean you don't know me?
I mean, I don't know anyone. I don't remember anything. How many times do I have to say it?
Just once, Stephanie, because I can't remember a damn thing either.
Really? Oh God, I thought it was just me.
You're not alone. Can you tell me what's going on here?
Those people downstairs have locked me in my room. They say I'm grounded until the wedding. They claim to be my parents. I can't dispute it because I can't remember for sure one way or the other, but it doesn't feel right. Do you have any idea where you do belong?
No, but I'm fairly sure I don't belong in Harvest.
Yeah. I can't remember anything. But I feel in my heart that the woman downstairs is not my mother. She's like this thing, like a parody. A bad joke with mother as the punchline. Does that make any sense? I'm glad I'm not the only one who sees it that way. I thought I was going crazy.
Join the club. But we can't both be crazy, Stephanie.
Either way, something really weird is going on here. I've got to escape, and so do you. Because in a way, whether you know it or not, I think we're both grounded. It's been hell. They treat me well, but they won't let me leave this room. Not even to go out in the yard. Not until the wedding.
They won't tell you why?
Each one blames the other for grounding me. They make up different excuses. Different things I did, none of which I remember. So I sit up here, watch the world outside my window, and listen to the noises in the house. Every morning, a weird boy comes to the house and picks up the paper. He doesn't deliver the paper. He picks up scrap paper that Miss Potsdam sets out on the porch for him. Some mornings she forgets, and the boy gets furious. He gives me the creeps.
Anything else you can tell me?
I hear these weird scraping sounds in the bathroom sometimes. Like something is sliding along the wall. Claws, maybe. And Mr. Potsdam. I don't like the way my dear daddy looks at me. Both of them are always watching me. But especially him.
You don't think they're dangerous, do you?
I think this whole place is dangerous. I think we've got to escape. Before it's too late.
Escape?
Harvest is a prison, Steve. Don't forget that. Of course I'm right. Everything in Harvest seems to revolve around this damned lodge, this Order of the Harvest Moon. They're responsible for this insane bake sale that's coming, and for the Harvest Blood Drive, too. When people talk about the lodge, it's always in this hushed, reverent tone. Telling me that women can't join, but she keeps pressuring me to get you to join. That's probably the worst thing you could do.
You think the lodge is some kind of trap?
I think all of Harvest is a trap.
If that's true, maybe joining the lodge is the way out.
Look, why not explore the town a little? I can't get out of here, but if I could, that's what I'd do. Maybe you can figure out what's happening here without going anywhere near the lodge.
You're really afraid of the lodge, aren't you?
I look at that building, all lit up at night, and I get scared.
Look at the damn thing. Seem like a harmless bunch of Masons to you?
Amnesia isn't total after all. You're familiar to me. Like we've met before. In another life.
Maybe we really do live here. Maybe we were together, and the same thing happened to both of us. An accident. Something.
Neither of us has bumps on our heads, if that's what you're getting at.
Have you been able to remember anything else? Anything at all?
Well, I have had these recurring dreams. Just fragments, really. Strange, abstract images. Liquid, chrome.
Probably just a dream.
Well, have you thought about how to escape Harvest? Come back and visit me soon, okay?
Yes?
I need some help, Mr.
Postmaster Boyle, what can I do for you today? Sorry, youngster, we're out of applications right now.
Come on, you must have one around here somewhere.
Well, I do have the master, but you can't write on that, and I only make copies once a month on the button, regular as clockwork. Afraid not, son. You can't get them anywhere but the post office. I'm sorry, you'll just have to come back in a month, same as anyone else. And even then, I can't guarantee you'll get an application. The line is always long, and there are never enough to go around.
It's very important that I get in quickly.
That's what they all say. Postmaster Boyle, I'll just die if I don't get into the lodge. I can't make an exception, young man. It just wouldn't be right. Next time you post, don't forget the zip code.
Steve, how's your father? Is he better?
About the same, I guess.
He's been away from work for weeks, and when I call your house, your mother won't let me talk to him.
I haven't seen him either.
This is a fine kettle of fish, I must say. Though I am glad to see you taking an interest in the business in your dad's absence.
Who are you?
Aw, Steve, I didn't want to believe that amnesia hokum. Now you're saying you don't remember your pal Pat O'Reilly? You may come to realize that this business is not for everybody. Just ask your poor, ill dad. It takes dedication. Bits of intestine out from my fingernails. I must confess I don't have much appetite for red meat. But red meat is one of the principal food groups, and you've got to have it. So when you can do this all day and help yourself to a juicy red steak afterwards, what exactly is wrong with your dad?
I don't know. I can't get in to see him. Come to think of it, I don't see any cattle around here. Where do you keep the animals?
Does it matter? The end product is all the customer cares about, Steve. And we only carry the finest meat. The importance of maintaining quality while cutting costs. We know what we're doing here, Steve. Your father's very particular about the profit, Steve. No freebies for anyone. But seeing how you're his son, if you'll bring written permission from your father, I'll give you the meat. The Order of the Harvest Moon sponsors a weenie roast on the lodge grounds every summer, which we cater, though they tend to get their meat elsewhere the rest of the year.
I wonder why.
Heck, the best way to find out is to sign up with them. They're a great organization, Steve. They do wonderful work, just like us butchers. They do what needs to be done and expect nothing in return.
Then how do they support themselves? Membership dues?
From what I hear, the work is its own reward. Don't be such a stranger, Steve, and my best to your dad.
Hi, what's your name?
Karen,
What are you doing?
playing. My mom is working, so I gotta stay out of her hair. Wanna play?
Not now, maybe later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh, Steve, what are you doing, sneaking up on me like that? God, for a second I thought you were Mr. Johnson. What would you like to order? Well, you're in Edna's Diner. That ought to be your first clue.
I thought this was DNA's diner.
Very funny. If certain customers would stop pretending to have amnesia and order some food, maybe I could afford to get that sign fixed. Might even be able to buy enough extra letters to spell Fitzpatrick.
I'm not pretending.
Now, Steve, faking amnesia won't help anything. If you don't want to marry Stephanie, then don't. But don't play sick, for heaven's sake. I'd expect that from Karen, not an 18-year-old. You've met Karen, my 8-year-old. Nicer girl in Harvest than Stephanie, Steve. You should be grateful that she's promised you her hand.
I don't remember that happening, Edna.
Honestly, you men are so childish. I don't know what it is about marriage that turns even the bravest man into a coward. I was going to marry Karen's father, when he just up and ran out on me one night. I heard that he joined the lodge, but if he did, I never saw him come out again. Even Sheriff Duane wasn't able to find out what happened to him. Mr. Johnson has a liking for me. I'd call it a crush, but that's too innocent a word. He's a bitter man with too much time on his hands. He's never gotten over being rejected by the lodge, and there's something unwholesome in the way he looks at me. I'm always glad when the sheriff comes in every day at noon. Sheriff Duane is such a dear man. And I don't just say that because he's my most regular customer. Every single day, rain or shine, he comes in here at noon for lunch. Sits in the same spot, too. That's at least an hour every day when I can be sure Mr. Johnson won't show up. You know, it's funny. Duane never comes in here with Deputy Loomis, but he frequently dines with Mr. McKnight. You know, the owner of the TV station. Sometimes he comes in with Postmaster Boyle, but somehow I don't think they're friends. Though I see them together a lot, Boyle and the sheriff never act very friendly towards each other. Almost like there's some kind of bond between them besides friendship, though what it might be I can't imagine. Maybe Sheriff Duane resents the fact that he's never been able to get into the lodge, though that's not Boyle's fault. He just hands out the applications. He doesn't decide who gets admitted. Stop by anytime, Steve.
Sorry, son, no time to talk. Neither rain nor sleet nor snow nor hell shall keep the mail from its appointed rounds. Yes, my button. Meaning to get another, but, well, the button's very distinctive. I'd have to file an S-411 with Washington to get another, and I just don't need the extra paperwork. Sure wish I could find it. Next time you post, don't forget the zip code. My button. Why, I lost that months ago. Where did you find it?
Funny thing, that. I found it in the ashes. At the newspaper building.
What are you implying? That I had something to do with setting the fire? Preposterous. Why, 100 people must have visited that site since the fire. You just try showing that button to Sheriff Duane, son. He'll laugh you right out of his office.
Can I help you, dear?
Who are you?
This is Phelps General Store, so who would that make me? Maybe you need to go back to Gein Memorial and have Miss Whaley teach you about logic.
I'm fuzzy on a lot of things these days. My memory's gone.
Pshaw, you always were a kidder, Steve.
I'm serious, I need some help.
Well, they say a sharp blow to the head is a good thing for amnesia. In which case, I'd recommend Miss Whaley again. Then again, they say a good scare can jog the memory. In which case, I'd advise you to visit the Sergeant-at-Arms over at the lodge. That man gives me the willies. Speaking of willies, how's your father?
Don't know. Haven't seen him.
Care to buy anything today? Just point to whatever you want. I'm a little hard of hearing. A girly magazine? Why, Steve, I'm surprised at you. I'd expect that sort of thing from Deputy Loomis, but never from you. He's always coming in here oogling the girly magazines behind my counter. Darned if I'd sell him one, though. I know his wife, for heaven's sakes.
Well, will you sell me one?
I certainly will, Steve. That kind of interest is healthy for a young fellow. Steers him away from being a fireman.
Hello, Steve. Let me introduce myself. I'm Sheriff Dwayne, and this here is Loomis.
Pleasure, I reckon.
Then, we haven't met before?
Of course we have. But I heard about your alleged amnesia, and figured I'd play along. I sure hope this is just a prank, and not the start of some insanity plea. Keep your nose clean, or you'll wind up in jail, and that's no place to hold a wedding.
Why do you want to break your poor mama's heart with all this amnesia bunk?
I'm telling you the truth. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you've always been a kidder, Steve.
Yeah, so everybody keeps telling me.
Boy, you need to stop all this funning and get serious. You've got a wedding coming up soon. Heck, you should be thinking about your career and about joining the lodge. Amnesia or no, you can't have forgotten you're about to marry the prettiest little thing in Harvest. I think you and Stephanie are perfect for each other. I just hope her father's disappointment doesn't spoil everything.
Disappointment?
Mr. Potsdam wants to hold the wedding in the lodge, but he'll never get in. Like all the rest, he's always hanging around the post office the first day of the month, waiting for Boyle to bring out that month's lodge applications. And there's always a long line. Never enough applications to go around, and even if you do get an application, chances are you're right out of luck. Fewer called to the order and even less accepted. And Potsdam, well, they've turned him down so many times, unless he does something radical, he'll never get in. Crime-wise, nothing much has happened in Harvest since the newspaper fire. Oh, sure. Every week or so we get the odd transient dropping dead, but other than that, it gets pretty slow around here. Sure, you remember, the Sentinel building burned down about 6 months ago.
That's what I'm telling you, Sheriff. I don't remember anything. Why won't you believe I have amnesia?
Well, you've always been a kidder, Steve. Anyway, the fireman said the fire was caused by arson. I never caught the perp, though.
But we found the gas can that was used. Yes, sirree, Bob. It's in the evidence room.
Loomis, that's classified. Darn it.
How many times you gonna have to tell me to keep my mouth shut, I wonder? Sorry, boss.
You've got the gas can in the evidence room? Did you dust it for prints?
You've been watching too much TV, Steve. Heck, who can make out all those curvy lines anyhow? No, it's sitting in there gathering dust, clean as the day we found it, just in case I ever need a spare gas can. That case is closed, Steve. Loomis here is my deputy. Without him, I'd have a hard time keeping the peace, or at least taking a lunch break. Mainly Loomis answers the phone and babysits the office while I'm out, though sometimes he likes to go in the back and stain the jail mattress. Isn't that right, Loomis?
Oh, now, Sheriff, what you gotta go and say that for?
Loomis has more than his share of problems. I wouldn't invite him to the wedding. Or if you do, make sure he doesn't catch the garter. That could be embarrassing.
Oh, I wouldn't do nothing, Dwayne. But I sure would like a little garter that'd been around Stephanie's thigh. Oh, why, that'd be right special.
Stop on by any time, Steve.
Anything I can help you with? Help yourself. Speaking of which, you're real lucky to be marrying Stephanie. She don't look like a good woman. I just hope she don't turn out like Mrs. Loomis, or mercy forbid Mrs. Phelps. Good women can be awful hard on a man's needs, don't you know? Oh gosh darn, she's purty. Kinda like a gal I seen on some of them French postcards they used to make. Used to be, I'd take them things, go back into jail if nobody was there and kind of look 'em over one-handed, fold some towels. That was before Mrs. Loomis. Oh gosh, I wish I had some of them girly pictures, but Mrs. Loomis won't let me keep 'em in the house. I still remember the time she caught me holding some of them pictures up with one hand. She took the broom to me. I howled like a hound dog, the broom going up and down, flashing straw and blood and straw, and I drooped. I was crying so bad, and it was so hard I had to crawl under the porch naked with all the black winter spiders, and I got bit something fierce. Little fangs are digging into my bare behind all over. I ask you, is that any way to treat a man? And Mrs. Phelps and the sheriff don't make it no easier neither. Mrs. Phelps down at the general store don't help things none. She's got them special picture books, the one with the ladies, but she won't sell me none on account of she knows my wife, Mrs. Loomis. Dadgum if that don't burn my britches. If and I even ask about 'em, she tells Mrs. Loomis and I get the broom. Enough to break a man's heart. Her burning my French postcards, me unable to replace them. A man's got needs, don't you know? Why, you sure ought to appreciate what a man's gotta do sometimes in a parked car, or a waist-high knothole in a tree, or jail cell at noon. Matter of fact, Mrs. Phelps got no reason not to sell you some of them French postcard girly picture books. If you can get any, it's see clear to part with them. Bring 'em round when the sheriff's at lunch, and I'd be obliged. Any time, kiddo. Oh, by George. Oh, by Jiminy. Oh, this here's the real thing. Oh, can I have it? Oh, thank you, Steve. Excuse me, kiddo. I gotta go check the jail for clean towels.
Where's Loomis?
You'll be coming around the mountain if you come. Oh, that's good.
Loomis, damn you!
Wait, no.
You pervert!
No! No!
Straining up the mattress again! Folding up the towels!
Dwayne!
Charming the snake!
No!
What does this mean? This is unexpected and awkward. But my luck's been bad ever since Dwayne found that darn gas can at the newspaper building the day after the fire. He has this insane notion that it's mine. I pay him not because I'm guilty, but because I don't want him slurring my good name around Harvest.
Oh, naturally.
You know, he keeps that gas can in the evidence room at his office. I'd be really grateful to whoever could fetch me that can. Grateful enough to provide him with a lodge application. Oh, and Steve, you'll keep this to yourself, if you're smart. Oh my God, I can't believe it. After all this time.
Where's my application, Boyle?
Here, take it, with my thanks. You know, this morning as I was making my rounds, I noticed an awful lot of television aerials on the roofs. Seems like more and more each day. You got me this can just in time, youngster. I may have need of it again.
What do you mean?
There's another reason why Sheriff Dwayne didn't investigate the Sentinel fire. If you'd like to get something else on the blackmailing bastard, check around the television station. While you still can.
I've told you what you must do. Until you've proven yourself, I have nothing more to say.
That's a ticket.
I see you've managed to acquire an application. That demonstrates resourcefulness, a desirable trait for prospective members. You need a rest. Report back here for your next assignment.
Welcome to our order.
The hand that grips life with its Stephanie.
Hello, dear. How are you today? Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
What do you want, Steve? I hear him at night, thrashing and moaning. I crawl out my window and see Mom's shadow on the Chevy. Pot holders on her hands, reaching for him. How can she do the stitches on him wearing those? Wouldn't she slip?
Don't be silly. She wouldn't do that. Of course she'd slip.
Maybe that's why he's not getting better. Good. Finally. There now, see how easy it is? Things are so much better between us when you remember the paper in the morning. And let's keep them that way. Swell! Here's the keys to the broom closet at Gein Memorial. That's where they meet every day. About 3:45, as soon as everyone has gone home. Sometimes I hide in there beforehand. And Daddy-o, I see some stuff that's real nasty. Take it from me, you made a good swap.
Huh? What? Screwing in the school broom closet? What will people think?
Are you blackmailing us, you little shit?
Calm down, Mr. Harrell. Stephen would never do that. He's a smiley bear. But we should give him a token of our appreciation for his silence. Here, Stephen, take this baseball bat. You'll find it quite useful.
That boy. Take the bat, and we'll take the photo.
However will I keep the children in line now?
I have a spare I can bring in tomorrow, unless you prefer a chainsaw this time.
I'll talk to Mrs. Phelps.
Hello, Steve. How's the husband-to-be?
Other than having no memory, I guess I'm alright.
Alright? You should be ecstatic, considering what you're getting into, if you haven't gotten into it already. Speaking of which, I heard Stephanie was grounded. Her daddy's worried about getting his meat. Though if I were him, I'd be more concerned about Stephanie getting some meat.
Right. And you are?
You always were a kidder, Steve. I'm Mr. Johnson, remember? Glad you stopped by. Just got finished waxing the tucker. I could use a little relaxation. But since Edna's not here, I might as well talk to you. Edna Fitzpatrick is one of the snootiest women in town. I declare there isn't a woman in Harvest that turned me away. If I was interested, that is. Just because she owns DNAs, she's got all these highfalutin ideas about independence. And her with a little girl to raise. That child needs a father. And Edna, well, she needs a good hard penis. I'll admit DNA's done it does good business. But money isn't everything to a woman. Can money keep you warm at night? Can you wrap your thighs around it? Or rake bloody gashes in its back with your painted hollowed fingernails? Edna! Edna! So, how's Stephanie? Speaking of Stephanie, I still haven't gotten an invitation to the wedding yet.
I don't have anything to do with that.
That's okay. Personally, I'd prefer a pass to the honeymoon. You could use the back seat of my Tucker for the maiden voyage. It's plenty big, believe you me. I'd drive you around. And I wouldn't look in the back seat, I guarantee it. Though if you'd like to come up front and take the wheel a while, I wouldn't say nay. Heck of an automobile, isn't she? Damn shame I have to sit out here and watch over her all the time. But if I didn't, those stupid kids might scratch her up playing ball. Hell yes, it's real. I wouldn't be so protective of her if she was just a reproduction. I'm mighty particular about my Tucker. I had the garage remodeled like a fortress, so I could lock her up at night and get some sleep.
I'm sure she's safe enough inside.
A few months back, someone broke into my house, trying to get into the garage. I had to gripe like hell before the sheriff agreed to start the evening patrols and instigate the curfew. Speaking of...
I don't...
That's okay. Bye now. Hey! What the hell are you doing? Stay out of there!
Steve, I'm so glad you came back. What have you been doing?
I visited the lodge. Talked to the sergeant-at-arms there. He knows that there's something out of whack here. He told me if I wanted to find out what it is, I should join the lodge. I've decided to join the lodge, Stephanie. I think the answer to all our questions is inside.
That place. It's so sinister. You may be playing right into their hands. Did you think of that? Doesn't it seem like you're being herded toward the lodge?
That's one of the things I hope to find out.
I hope finding out doesn't get you killed. Come back and visit me soon, okay?
Doing here at this hour, Mr. Potsdam?
Go away and mind your own business.
Then, where's the cat?
I left her at home. Now leave me alone!
So, you have completed your first task. Now that you've scratched the tucker, you may proceed to your second task. You will steal a bolt of fabric from the fireman and bring it to me. Very well then. Use whatever means necessary, but bring the cloth to me here, and I shall give you your third task.
Hello, dear. How are you today? By the way, I spoke with Mr. Johnson and he's livid. Seems someone scratched up his priceless tucker. If he finds out who, there'll be heck to pay. Edna's daughter Karen has disappeared. Karen was playing outside as Edna closed the diner, and that's the last anyone saw of her. I haven't the foggiest idea. All I know is she went missing last night. But Steve, this isn't something you want to be concerned with. Trust me. You should be concentrating on joining the lodge, not some missing girl.
Isn't a lost child everyone's concern?
Then let everyone worry about it. This is nothing but a waste of time for you. If you spend your time in Harvest looking for Karen, you'll regret it.
My time in Harvest? You talk like I'm a visitor, Mom.
Don't be silly, dear. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
Good part. Perfect, gonna get famous. Gonna get a picture on a milk carton.
She's disappeared. That's all we know.
Yeah. Well, I heard that Karen was gone. So I went over to Miss Fitzgerald's house and asked if I could play with Karen. Her mom just stood there, you know, in the doorway, and cried and cried. And I just stood there, wondering how long it would take for her to stop. But she didn't. So I went inside and watched TV, 'cause they've got color, 'cause Edna has money, 'cause she runs the diner and all. And I sensed she was feeling vulnerable, so I asked her to fix me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And she did. Then I went into Karen's bedroom and looked around for stuff I could take, while Edna was in the bathroom with the water running. But all that there was girls' stuff, so I came home. But it was fun while it lasted. I'm evil? You don't know what evil is. Mom says the blood drive is coming, Steve. You'll like that. It's for a good cause, and only bad people don't give. Good. Finally. There now, see how easy it is? Things are so much better between us
when you remember the paper in the morning. And let's keep him that way.
Thank God I found you. Are you alright, Karen?
I want to go home. Could you take me to my mommy's store? Or to the policeman?
Can you tell me who did this to you?
Mr. Potsdam told me he'd hurt my mommy if I told.
Won't do anything, I promise. Tell me what happened.
He made me play house. Then he dug a hole. Please, I just want to go home now. Please.
Can you tell me your address, honey?
I don't know. Just take me to the store or the policeman. Please. Mommy said to go to the policeman if I got lost. And I'm lost.
Oh my God! Karen! Thank God! What happened?
Found her in the graveyard. She was buried alive. And she claims Mr. Potsdam was responsible.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you from both of us. Here's the reward money. Take it and go. I need to be alone with my baby right now.
Hello, Steve. Care to buy anything today? Just point to whatever you want. I'm a little hard of hearing. Steve, you live close to Mr. Johnson. How is he taking it? Such wanton vandalism. It just breaks my heart. I'll have to send him a nice fruit basket, though if he wants some new paint and sealant, it'll cost him.
Some rotten son of a bitch scratched my car. My Tucker, my baby, my poor darling, my sweet cheeks. If I find out who did it, I'll kill him. Just kill him dead. I told that fool sheriff to beef up the patrols, but what does he care? Nobody cares about a limp dick fat boy. Well, I'll make them care. I'll make them care. Good work rescuing Karen. Of course, you queered my play with Edna. But I suppose a little girl's life is more important than my sex life, right? Bye now.
Steve, good of you to drop by, big guy. Haven't seen you since graduation. A lot of changes, I hear.
You could say that.
Good. That's a nice part of my job, turning fine young men and women out into the world, and then watching them prosper. Of course, I was able to reach more people at the old Sentinel, God bless her. But then again, I never got to see the results of my work up close before.
Who are you?
You know very well I'm Mr. Harrell, the principal of Gain Memorial. Steve, I've heard about this amnesia nonsense. I had hoped you'd be in the lodge by now, fine young fellow like yourself. But now, I think maybe you need a little more quality time. Mr. Johnson says one of my pupils scratched his priceless Tucker. I must say, I was relieved when I learned he had no evidence pointing to one of my kids. If he had, some lucky boy or girl would have been in for some quality time. Say, congratulations on finding Karen Fitzpatrick. Don't know how you did it, but if I were still publishing the Sentinel, you can bet I'd run a full profile on you. Boy, I sure miss the old newspaper. The sheriff never did investigate that fire properly. Call it a newspaper man's instinct, though I can't imagine why Sheriff Dwayne would cover up anything. I mean, the only ones who stood to profit from the newspaper going out of business was the owner of the TV station, and Mr. McKnight had an airtight alibi. Still, if not for the fire, I never would have wound up as principal of Gein Memorial.
Gein Memorial? Sounds like a cemetery or a hospital, not a school.
This institution was named for a great man, whose first name escapes me. He epitomized the great potential within us all, big guy. I hear there's an honorary plaque commemorating him within the lodge. Big guy, borrowing some quality time, the greatest gift I can bestow upon you as your former principal is a word of advice. Join the Order of the Harvest Moon at any cost. Within the lodge lies your future, and without dust.
Why do you keep calling me big guy?
A sign of respect, lad. As principal, my station is higher than yours now, but you never know what the future holds, so you should always hedge your bets and pay tribute to your inferiors. You never know who will come to power, or who, even now, wields it behind the scenes. For all I know, you might already be a member of the Order, with access to the lodge. If that were the case, you'd be my superior, and I'd be all that much better off having shown you respect and spent some quality time with you. Drop in again soon. Adult education is a wonderful thing, as is adult quality time.
Stephen.
Who are you?
I am Daniel Moynihan, mortician and proprietor of the Wayward Hotel.
Most people ask me why I don't remember their names.
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Besides, as one who deals with the dead, I try not to involve myself in the affairs of the living. Your loss of memory is of no concern to me, true or false. Ironic, considering my recent involvement in a charity event.
What are you talking about?
My complaints were central to the scheduling of the upcoming Harvest Bake Sale. I'm gratified the Order of the Harvest Moon got involved. The proceeds will certainly help cover my losses. This bake sale is a joint effort of the Harvest PTA and the Order of the Harvest Moon. The proceeds will be used to set up a fund for transients. In other words, bums and societal rejects without families who wander into Harvest uninvited.
Then the Order is setting up shelters for the homeless?
Not shelters. Graves. You see a great number of these hobos die while passing through. Don't ask me why, it's what those people do. Use your common sense, Stephen, memory or no. If they were involved in setting up homeless shelters, then why would I be involved? And why would I be sustaining losses? As always, the Order of the Harvest Moon has taken the lead in addressing our societal ills. Through their sponsorship of the blood drive and the bake sale, the lodge ensures that all our needs are met.
Needs? Such as?
Pardon me, there are corpses to prepare. And my losses have been substantial of late. If you're sincerely interested in the Order, however, you should stop by the lodge and speak with the Sergeant-at-Arms.
Why should I be interested, Mr. Moynihan?
Of all the spots in Harvest, the lodge is the most prominent, literally and figuratively. It is the ambition of everyone here to join. And join you must to attain wisdom.
What kind of wisdom?
If I knew, I'd be a member. I have the feeling you have what it takes to join the Order, Stephen. We all believe that. Whether or not you live up to your potential is up to you. It seems that, like some elephant's graveyard, people of low station come to harvest to die. They simply drop dead, penniless, and they all need burials. God knows, by putting these people up at the Wayward Hotel, I do more than my fair share. So why must I pay for the coffins and burial materials as well? My losses to the dead are substantial. Hopefully the bake sale will offset some of them. As owner of the only hotel in town, I do my best to accommodate any hobo who straggles into town, vacancies permitting. I really don't recall. We get so many low-life dregs passing through here, I can't remember every little death that occurs.
Huh. Are there that many?
As I said, sliced open on a mortician's slab, every corpse looks the same. Red and juicy.
But surely you'd remember if these deaths were an unusual occurrence.
You sound like you're launching some sort of investigation, Stephen. That would be most unwise. I'd say it's been a pleasure, but I find the company of the living so wearisome.
Steve, it's so good to see you again. I get so lonely in here.
I'm sorry. Want to hear what's happening out in the real world?
No. I'd rather forget about Harvest for a while. Like we're the only two people in Harvest. The only two real people. Do you know what I mean? I need to feel something again. This sense I have that I've known you. It's my only link to my past.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different than memory. Maybe we don't remember each other so much as we recall the feelings deep inside. Strong feelings.
Maybe the body has its own memory.
Let's find out.
I want you. Make love to me.
Steve, is that you? Come to see your poor old dad?
Are you my father? Really? I don't remember you.
Please. I'm not in the mood for jokes.
I'm serious. Why won't anyone believe me?
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve. Just don't make me laugh now. Remember the stitches.
My God. What has she done to you? on in here?
I know it's a mystery to you. The sacred things that husbands and wives do behind closed doors. Maybe we should have that special father-son talk. Especially now that you're getting married. But you need to be forewarned. You need to know what to look out for. The hobby horse and the jello.
That's all right. Don't get worked up. You need your rest.
Yes, rest. But why did you come? You must have had a reason for risking it.
I need some meat, and Pat won't give me any without your signed permission.
Good old dependable Pat. Here, son. Here's my signature. Take it to him, and you won't have any problem.
Damn it!
So, your father okayed the meet, huh? How's he doing? Good, good. Glad to hear it. Here's your meat, son. You run along now.
Jeez, what are you doing here?
Just standing here, waiting to be drawn.
You just hang out here? All the time?
I'm not a person, Steve. I'm an object. You'd do well to remember that. A person is his job. Someday you'll understand that. And if you don't, it won't matter, because you'll be dead.
Dead?
Have you gotten your lodge application in yet? Good. You may survive yet. I guess you're here to steal the bolt. Not at all. That's not my job. However, since I am an object d'art, and since art should be interpreted, I'll give you a clue as to where the bolt is located. Darkness gives as darkness gets, but light invoked is light shed.
All right.
Hello, dear. How are you today? You know those firemen? The funny ones with the color sense? Looks like they misplaced a bolt of expensive fabric. Of course, each one of them suspects the other. Looks like a catfight is brewing. Congratulations, hero. You found Karen after all.
You don't seem proud, Mother. I wonder why.
I warned you not to waste time looking for her.
Am I running out of time?
The blood drive is coming soon.
What does that have to do with anything?
If you haven't joined the lodge by then, you'll find out. Still, I'm glad you found the poor baby. She says Mr. Potsdam was responsible for what happened to her. What a silly little girl. Shame on you! Imagine accusing your future father-in-law of a thing like that. Is that how a range rider would behave? I don't think so.
Why would she lie?
Okay, Weisenheimer. Even if he is a child molester, a kidnapper, and an attempted murderer, that's no reflection on what kind of father-in-law he'll be. I just can't wait for the wedding. Can you? Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
Good part. For digging up buried kids. I like to see what that batch would look like. I went over to ask her what it was like, being buried alive and all. But she just stared at me, and twitched, and drooled. Guess I got my answer. Huh. Good. Finally. There now, see how easy it is? Things are so much better between us when you remember the paper in the morning. And let's keep them that way.
Did you say hello to your father for me? Thank God for that, at least. I could use some good news right now. I just got the word. The order turned down my latest application. Looks like we'll be having the wedding at Moynihan's after all. Well, I'm relieved about that, at least.
Someone went and scraped up Johnson's car? Can you imagine? He'd step in a bear trap and chew his own leg off rather than suffer a scratched tucker. Serves the rich bastard right, if you ask me. Those silly willies down at the fire station are just incensed about losing some decorating stuff. Some people. Yeah. Maybe they should be more concerned with fire and less with flame.
You might want to be extra nice to Mr. Potsdam today, Steve. He was turned down by the lodge again. Guess we're having the wedding at Mr. Moynihan's after all. Give my regards to your parents.
I'm glad to see you. I feel so alone, cooped up in here. My faux mother keeps me up on the latest gossip. Not like she really wants to talk to me. More like she's feeding me information. For instance, she told me that Mr. Johnson's Tucker was vandalized. That's another weird thing. Every car I've seen drive by is a Tucker. There were only 31 produced. What are the odds of that?
I've always wanted a Tucker. Funny that Harvest would be full of them.
Any idea who scratched the car? Johnson was really upset about it from what I hear. You know the firemen? Someone stole some fabric from them, and they're up in arms about it. Why would firemen spend their time decorating? Only in Harvest. Is it true? You found Karen?
Yeah, just in time, too. He'd molested her and buried her alive. He couldn't bring himself to kill her outright, so he just decided to stick her in the ground and let fate take its course.
Who? Who would do that to a helpless child?
She says it was Mr. Potsdam. And I believe her.
Oh, Christ. And all this time I've been under the same roof with that thing watching me.
Take it easy, okay?
So, at least they'll be coming to take him away, won't they? Come back and visit me soon, okay?
Boy, the way you keep pestering me, you'd think you were feeling guilty about something. Are you? I got a report here that someone put a ding on Johnson's Tucker. As ornery as Johnson is about that old car, I suppose he had it coming. I imagine it was just some kids pulling a prank. I'm nowhere near solving the Tucker case, and now I have to deal with a bunch of firemen throwing a hissy fit over some stolen cloth. Can you imagine? What the heck is going on around here? Stop on by any time, Steve.
Kiddo, you brought me any of them girly picture books?
No, sorry.
Oh, heck. Why should you be any different from the sheriff or Mrs. Loomis? Steve, I'd be right obliged if you could just see clear to bringing me just one of them books. Believe me, it'll be worth your time to do it. Anytime, kiddo.
Stay tuned, buckaroos. There's more to come on Range Riders Cowboy Roundup. My name is Steve. Here you go, then. Violence? What about it? What red-blooded American doesn't? Nothing like an exploding head to get the blood pumping. Literally, that is.
Even so, do you think society pays a heavy price for the violence in the media?
Of course they pay a heavy price. Just look at the net profits. They'll line up around the block to see a good slaughter. Now, excuse me, we're going back on the air.
Hello there, youngster. They say them aliens I was telling you about, well, they came back last night. Cut another crop circle in my south field.
How come I never seen none of them saucers, Clam?
Them aliens is wild, Pete. You don't cross the intergalactic void without learning a trick or two. You know what Pastorelli did? Yesterday, he gets an alarm system to protect his pole. Only he don't know how to rig it, so now it's all awry. But dang it if the whole town ain't going to hell. Poor old Johnson, defecating a work of art like that. Well, that's a sure sign that civilization is coming to an end. Why, that barber's pole of his is his pride and joy. Stuck up in it, but he thinks it's the be-all, end-all. Installed that alarm system just to protect it. Though who in tarnation would want to steal a worthless piece of junk like that? I don't know.
Maybe them aliens, Clem.
Oh, Pete, don't be ignorant. Them aliens don't give a fig for no colored glass. You think if they can build spaceships, they can't make a dadgum barber pole? Crazy hick don't know nothing about science. Pastorelli shelled out for an alarm system, all right, but he's too cheap to hire an electrician to hook her up. Dang idiot cross-wired it to the fire sprinkler, so now when the alarm goes off, it sets the sprinkler spraying. Tarnation! Aliens looking for intelligent life ought to stay away from this shop, sure enough. Well, son, the ways of the alien is a specialized area of woodcraft unknown to all but the wiliest sportsmen. What you gotta remember is, your average alien is smarter than your average human, so you gotta be extra careful building your blind if you want to bag one.
You hunt aliens?
Son, after nailing an alien, you can never go back to quail. Sensing machines lay real quiet and wait. Preferably in the woods around the nuclear base. Oh, they love messing around out there.
Why not wait outside your field, Clem? Wait for 'em to come a-carving.
Oh, they do their crop doodles with zap guns, you darn fool. Don't you know nothing? Besides, ain't no place to put the blind out in the field. Now, you listen to Clem Parsons if you want to tag an unearthly being. They cross the void, wondering what lies beyond, all the time not knowing that what awaits them is buckshot. Anytime, Steve.
Howdy, Steve.
Yeah. Howdy back, Mr.
Pete Swell, Steve. Don't you pull my old leg now. Change your mind about that aluminum siding?
What are you talking about?
I really think you should talk your father into buying some. He can afford it. And I can't stress enough the value of some really fine aluminum siding. Keeps it warm in the summer, cool in the winter, and it keeps out the sheep. Pastorelli ought to look into some, but I can't get him to understand a word I say. I tell you, the only thing worse than a fire station full of sissies is a fire station full of pig sissies. They're all accusing each other of stealing some silk underwear or something. Boy, whoever said fighting fire with fire'd be happy in harvest. 'Cause we got a fire station full of flamers. Steve, aluminum siding can't get a fair shake no more. Started when those firemen came to harvest, filling people's heads with newfangled notions like color coordination and interior design. You can paint aluminum, you know, if you want to. But even so, I can't seem to move it anymore. Not even to a rube like Pastorelli. Thank God for the plumbing. Pastorelli's a rube from way back. Ask Clem Parsons how he followed up with the alarm system in here. I'm a plumber. I could fix it for him, but he just won't listen. Well, I seen the end coming for the aluminum siding game, so I took a mail course and learned how to be a plumber. Now, there's a business that never lets up. You'd be surprised what people flush down the toilet. Nice to see you again, Steve.
Exquisite cloth. Its loss should trigger quite a bit of dissension amongst our gallant firefighters. Still, that is not your concern. Your next assignment is to break into the tonsorial establishment of Mr. Pastorelli and abscond with his prized barber's pole. Lack of respect for authority, a fine trait for a member of the Order. Yes, I approve, Stephen. I hope you succeed in your task. Break into the shop, steal the barber's pole, and bring it back to me. At that point, I shall give you your final task.
Hello, dear. How are you today? Did you hear what happened at the barber shop? Someone broke into Pastorelli's salon and took his antique barber's pole. The next morning, Pastorelli touched some live wires that the thief left lying around and was electrocuted. Well, that darn foreigner got what he deserved, if you ask me, coming into a nice little town like Harvest and stealing business. Heavens, if a bowl and scissors were good enough for your father, I don't see why decent working folk need a fancy wop styling their hair. That's how it goes. First you get a sissy trim, then bang, you're a communist. Isn't it exciting, Steve? 5 days and 1,200 cookies later, the bake sale is already here. Where does the time fly?
Those 1,200 cookies. How many are you taking to the sale?
Oh, about 20. The rest were stale. But the effort wasn't wasted. It's for a good cause. Will you be at the school tonight? That's nice, dear. It's good to be open to new experiences.
Don't you think it's odd, having a bake sale to pay for burying out-of-towners?
Gosh a-hooties, what should we do? Leave them in the streets?
Of course we should bury them. But why do so many out-of-towners drop dead in Harvest?
I have wondered about that. And I think it has something to do with the air.
But there's nothing wrong with the air, it's perfectly clean.
That's what I mean. Big city folk, they get so used to smog that clean air is a shock to their systems. Gets them every time. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
There now, see how easy it is? Things are so much better between us when you remember the paper in the morning. And let's keep them that way.
I can't talk now, son. I'm busy with this game. I guess you heard that dang idiot Pastorelli went out and got himself electrocuted. Somebody stole a barber's pole. The alarm system triggered the sprinkler. There was water on the floor this morning, and the darn crook left exposed wires out. The Pastorelli came in, flipped the switch, and then zap! Well, maybe them aliens is hot for colored glass after all. Anytime, Steve.
Think about taking some of that siding off my hands, son. I'll cut you a nice price on it. I was the one what found Pastorelli this morning, after he stepped in the water with the live wires hanging out. His body was so burnt his arms and legs was blackened, fused together, and the sheep was well done too. Problem is, both was burnt so bad, and the flesh all crisp and distorted, limbs melded, you couldn't tell them apart. And well, I didn't want to take a chance on eating Italian. No, sir, I didn't. Nice to see you again, Steve.
Hello, dear. Come to see Stephanie, have you? She's upstairs. Go right on up. Just remember, she's grounded until the wedding. The bake sale is tonight, 7 o'clock at the school. Lots of cookies and yards of floss. Hope to see you there. Give my regards to your parents.
I'm glad to see you. I feel so alone, cooped up in here. I understand that bake sale is today.
Yeah, you'd think it was the second coming the way everyone is acting around here.
It's insane. The maniacal attention paid to this bake sale. Like all the women in Harvest came from the same cookie cutter. It's unnatural, unhealthy, almost a parody of how things should be. And through my window at night, I see my mother throwing out whole batches of cookies, like an automaton getting rid of its surplus product.
My so-called mother has been baking cookies all week, and then throwing them out. Better that than getting rid of us.
Wait around long enough. I have a feeling they'll get to it. I don't know if you heard or not, but Mr. Pastorelli, the barber, he's dead. Looks like somebody stole a barber's pole from him, then left the exposed electrical wires and some water on the floor. Pastorelli walked in, flipped on the lights, and... Know anything about that? Mr. Swell came by. I heard him telling my father about it. He said it smelled like roast pork.
Well, these things happen.
Especially around here. Come back and visit me soon, okay?
I can't talk now. The dishes are stacked up and back, and I better take advantage of the lull. I've whipped up a huge batch of brownies for the PTA bake sale tonight. I just wish I could do more to help out those poor bums. Most of the bums that die in harvest lack the money for a good Christian burial. The proceeds from this sale will help Mr. Moynihan provide them with proper burial services.
Doesn't it strike you as funny that so many wanderers die in harvest?
No, it strikes me as sad. You have an odd sense of humor, Steve. I just heard that Mr. Johnson's tucker was vandalized. You know, though I don't like to think ill of people or take pleasure in the misfortunes of others, I'd like to think it's a comeuppance for all the times that nasty man has bothered me. Mr. Pastorelli was electrocuted. He's dead. It looks like some thief wanted his barber's pole but didn't think of the consequences.
Maybe it's what the guy had to do. Maybe whoever it was really needed that barber's pole bad.
That's no excuse for hurting someone else. Even if Pastorelli were alive now, his heart would be broken. And what's a little profit compared to that? I feel terrible about what happened at the fire station. Those firemen helped me decorate my diner. I can't believe one of them stole that cloth from the others. It must have been someone else, don't you think?
Boy, the way you keep pestering me, you'd think you were feeling guilty about something. Are you? Looks like we've got us a mini crime wave on our hands. Just got a report about another act of vandalism. Maybe related to the Tucker incident and the fire station robbery. Someone broke into Pastorelli's barbershop and took his pole. Next morning, Pastorelli touched some live electrical wires that were left dangling, and zap, no more barber. What was just an act of vandalism has just become a case of manslaughter. I don't like it. Harvest used to be such a nice little town. Stop on by any time, Steve.
Ah, you've taken up photography, I see. Now why on earth would you choose such a grotesque subject?
That John Doe you've got boxed up in the chapel? He didn't just drop dead. Someone helped him take the plunge.
You may be right. I'm a mortician, not a medical examiner.
You don't have to be to know that being ripped to shreds can be detrimental to your health.
This is not something you want to be looking into, young man. That's what we all want.
What game are you people playing?
A game we win or lose together.
Look, are you gonna tell me what I want to know, or do I go to the sheriff with these pictures?
That would be a grave mistake, I assure you. I've told you all I can. My losses have been substantial of late, so I can't offer you money. The only thing I can give you in exchange for the photographs is my tube of astro glue. I do suggest you take it, for it's all you'll get from me. A wise decision. When a wasp's nest is stirred up, it is seldom the wasps who grieve later.
My goodness, class, this is Stephen. He used to be a student here at Gein Memorial. Say hello, class. They're reticent. The educator's gravest problem today is the apathy of the students.
What's wrong with their
heads? I can tell you in one word, Stephen. Discipline. Thank goodness you weren't a sulky bear. You were always a smiley bear.
Then you remember me?
Not as such. So many pupils, Stephen. They come and they go. But I can always spot those who were nice boys. You can tell from the forehead. The lobes. Right, class? I'm glad you stopped by, Stephen. Would you care to say a few words to the class about civic responsibility?
Not really. I was just passing through.
Oh, but you must, Stephen. A positive role model might be just the thing to inspire these little monsters. Stephen, have you any questions for me? Or shall I continue with class? Ask away then. Remember, Stephen, tonight is the PTA bake sale. You'll be there, won't you? That's good. I hope to see you there.
Anything about Harvest?
Harvest was founded by the Order of the Harvest Moon about 100 years ago.
For what purpose?
Why, I'm sure you'd have to ask them. You'll find the members of the Order at the lodge.
This lodge. What do you know about it?
The building itself, like Harvest, was constructed with a specific purpose in mind. That noble intent is known only to those within the Order. You're at about the right age to join them, Stephen, and you will do so if you care about your future. Stop by any time, Stephen.
And here it is, the object Dodd, imported Venetian glass and Italian dreams. You have done well. An unfortunate side effect that Pastorelli was electrocuted because you left live wires in a puddle on the floor. But as those with affectations of worldliness say, c'est la vie. Yes, a barber, cut down in his prime. Of course, you only wanted the bowl, but that hardly matters now. Your final assignment is to set a fire in DNA's diner and let the French fry where they may. Yes, I suggest you succeed. Beyond that, you must find your own answers. Members of the Order must be resourceful and cunning. So must you be to become one with them. Tonight, the bake sale commences. Soon, the annual Harvest Blood Drive will be
Yeah.
Welcome to our order.
The hand that grips life with steel.
Hello, dear. How are you today? The nerve of some people burning down the TV station to detract from our bake sale.
I doubt the perpetrator did it just to annoy the Harvest PTA.
Coincidence? I don't think so. Just 6 months ago, the newspaper building went up in smoke. Obviously, there's a firebug on the loose. Either that or a communist. Steve, I'm so scared. Just ask Colonel Monroe at the missile base. He'll tell you. Now that the bake sale's over, I just don't know how I'll fill my time. Oh, I feel so useless. My goodness. My goodness. Oh, it's not as bad as it looks. You just pop them back in. See? She ate must have had wasp eggs in it.
Don't you think we should get her to a doctor?
What for? She's got her mother. How silly I was, feeling useless just because there are no more cookies to bake. I can still rear my brood. This is a sign, Steve. I have a purpose again.
Glad to see you're feeling better.
Mind, that fire still burns my britches. First the newspaper building, then DNA's diner, then WHAR. I sense a pattern. And any pattern I can't make a dress out of is no darn good. I suppose you heard about DNA's diner burning down? Sheriff Dwayne thinks it was a grease fire. We took a black eye on the bake sale, but I'm sure the Harvest PTA annual blood drive will be more successful. Overall, we made about $200, hardly enough to bury a dead horse. And definitely not enough to cover the annual blood drive.
Annual blood drive, huh?
If you knew how much blood we get, you'd be more impressed. Donations are mandatory, Steve. If you're still here come Sunday, you'll be expected to give.
Until it hurts, I suppose.
Until it hurts. Even Hank will have to donate. Of course, lodge members are exempt. Remember that.
Hey. Either way, no one's sticking me with a needle.
We don't use needles. Don't forget to put the papers out for Jimmy. You know how he gets.
There now, see how easy it is? Things are so much better between us when you remember the paper in the morning. And let's keep them that way.
DNA's diner is no more, as is Edna herself. She hung herself as soon as she realized what had happened to her beloved establishment. A true entrepreneur and a credit to our nation. Come now, anyone who spoke with her for 5 minutes testing. Your initiation into the mysteries of the harvest will soon begin. In the meantime, be patient. Protocols must be observed before initiation may commence.
How will I recognize this sign?
You will know when you receive the invitation. Bring it here, and your initiation shall begin.
Say, can you spare a dime for a buckaroo who's down on his luck?
What happened?
The whole shebang just went up in flames, and I'm looking to mosey on to greener pastures, where the sunset's always golden, and there's always another savage to kill.
I've tried so hard to find an excuse to keep on fighting, but Karen and I can't go on alone any longer. This diner he left us was all we had. It was always a struggle to keep it running in such a small town. And now we've lost it. I know that I can't afford to support us now. There's only one way out. I'm sure you won't be able to understand the depth of despair that would enable a mother to put a rope around her baby's neck and push her into the air and jump after her. I wonder if I'll hear her next now. If she kicks around and takes a long time to strangle me, I'll scream, but I won't cut her down. I've got to be stronger than I ever was before. But I hope she doesn't get it. God help us and forgive us, Edna Fitzpatrick.
Guess I can forget about the meat, huh?
What do you mean?
Your dad must have pulled some strings. Be sure and check Stephanie's pillow, you lucky bum.
What the hell are you talking about?
You'll see once the sheriff gets here. Stephanie. Things will never be the same now. Guess I'll be watching TV nights.
Okay, you can come in now, son.
My God. Is that what I think it is?
Yep, it's a spinal cord.
Is it Stephanie?
I can see a resemblance, but I can't be sure.
More pie, Sheriff?
Pie? Don't you realize what's happened?
Oh, indeed I do. I can just hear the tongues wagging at the PTA. Was it Suicide.
Never heard of anyone pulling their own spinal cord out before. Off the record, I'd have to say no. No, all in all, I'd say this was death by natural causes.
Natural causes?
You can't live without a spinal cord, son. Nothing unnatural about that. Think I will have some more pie.
Right away.
I can't believe this. This is horrible.
Believe me, you get to the point to where this is routine. Now the only clue we got is that card on our pillow. Take a look at it.
This is practically a confession.
Confession to what, son?
Murder. Isn't that what you're here to investigate?
Son, you don't investigate natural deaths. No point.
Then I'll get to the bottom of this myself.
Yeah. I'm sure you will.
More pie, Sheriff?
Don't mind if I do.
But you have not brought it. Was not the card, but the spinal cord. It must be presented to me ere I allow you to enter. I expect nothing. What must unfold will. You were provided an invitation. Bring me the skull and spinal cord if you would pass to the world beyond. You have done well. Now let the initiation commence. As your mystagogue, it is requested and required that I turn over this sacred dagger to you to aid you in your quest. Initiates find it a hostile place.
Are you supposed to help me or get me killed?
I'm starting you on the path of initiation to a very special, very exclusive brotherhood. I am merely
this thing? You haven't said what it is.
It is a special weapon. Using it will be part of the initiation. You always have a choice, Initiate. Which choices you make matter only to you. Whatever occurs in here is relevant to the great question, which you cannot help but answer. What is at issue is whether in answering the question you will find the answers you seek. You will encounter those intent on preventing or prompting your answer, depending on how you look at it. While the assumption is you want to live, dying is easy and provides its own answer, but not for you.
Just tell me, is Stephanie dead or being held within?
The membership director on the second level keeps track of such things.
Oh, great. Then you are against me.
I am the Sergeant at Arms. I am here to ensure that the protocols are observed. Deviation from a protocol shall result in punishment. Remember what I have told you. Begin.
You're here. Excellent. You'll find them through that door.
Excuse me?
You are the exterminator. You're here. Excellent. You'll find them through that door.
Excuse me?
You are the exterminator. We're not speaking of cockroaches. A bewildering variety of deadly beasts lie beyond. And just before the annual board meeting. Dreadful. I wish you good luck, sir. I only hope you can stomach what's ahead.
This is a cloakroom, sir. By definition, not a fitting place to seek answers. However, it's plain that the acid from your ordeal is eating away at your clothing and skin. I can clean your clothes for a minor consideration of $5.
Well, I hope you're proud of yourself, killing my clientele. Ever since the monsters invaded this level, the members have taken to dining with the Grand Poobah upstairs. Actually, I have to admit my last few meals haven't been up to snuff. The problem is the freshness of the corpses, or lack thereof. See, the supply has dried up. The Sergeant-at-Arms always used to insist that bodies killed on the lodge be disposed of without trace, and so the members would bring me their business for preparation and dissemination. Oh dear, you're not a member, are you? You're an initiate. Forgive me, I can't say another word about it.
Can you tell me anything that might help me?
Not really.
Welcome to the Harvest Moon Art Gallery, sir. I'm the curator of this place. So delighted you could come. That it will, I'm afraid. Art often forces engagement, doesn't it? Lovely works, pastoral scenes, noble sculptures. These are easy on the eye and mind. But when confronted with a work of hideous form, you're forced to deal with it, even if only to dismiss it as trash. Sadly, the most extreme works are the hardest to dismiss. Grotesqueries amid works of beauty are necessary. That should be taken for granted. Nevertheless, it's important that each individual determine his own sense of aesthetics. For that reason, I give you permission to obliterate that which forces you to linger too long in the gallery.
I'm just passing through.
If only it were that simple.
All right.
I am the chess master. Any initiate who wishes to pass this way must do so over my dead body. Being a civilized man, I offer my opponents a choice. Solve my problem or fight me to the death. Do you know how to play chess? In that case, mate me and you may pass.
Well, that didn't work.
This is the temple of the mystery of abstinence. Do not eat of the food or you will be punished. All within are hereby bound to a vow of abstinence. You obey well, initiate. Better than your brethren. They have eaten and grown stronger for it. As promised, I will not punish you for your obedience, but they will.
And some mothers complain that their children don't come to see them. This is the mystery of motherly love. Everyone says motherhood is fulfilling, when in reality, it's draining. Oh, yes. I'm such a pessimist. What you...
Welcome to the Temple of the Mystery of Religion. The mystery is thus. Those who preach love and mercy in God's name are often those who call for the death of heathens. Do you believe in God, my son? You are wise. His mercy anoints us all. And where doth he dwell, the Lord? Indeed, any other response would be blasphemous. Answer me this, if the word be with you. Does the Lord bounce on a spring or frolic with the wombats? Yes, the fields of the Lord are rife with wombats, and he is their shepherd. Answer thus, if thou be virtuous. Doth God Almighty herd them with his staff, or with special imported wombat herding equipment? Naturally, God, being almighty, hath no need to import anything his staff doth serve. Now, I ask thee one final question, which is only known to those amongst the ranks of the saved. Is God a jar of strawberry preserves, a size 12 sneaker, a foot-long hoagie, an all-expense-paid trip to Brazil, or a new car? You are correct. Pass in peace, brother. The Lord is with thee.
What do you want here?
I'm just passing through.
You think it's that simple, huh? Just passing through? Well, my family was just sitting around. And look where it got them. What of it? My country paid me to kill. And then when I came home, I was out of a job. They expected me to stop? Cold turkey? Is that what they wanted? A paycheck today, jail cell tomorrow? Am I a criminal or an entrepreneur? Hey, let's find out.
Welcome to the Temple of the Mystery of Flesh, Steve. Have a bite?
Mr. Potsdam?
The mystery is this. Sometimes you have to lose some meat to get some meat. They wouldn't let me in until I demonstrated my worthiness. My invitation came after I buried Karen alive. That showed initiative.
And her spinal cord was your ticket in, right?
Yes, but to be initiated into the mysteries of the harvest, I had to do one last thing. I let them into the house and into Stephanie's bedroom. Sometimes you have to sacrifice meat to gain meat. The Order taught me that. Now I am a butcher. You should have gotten your dad to hire me on. That way, you could have been the boss, instead of the prime...
Hello, handsome. Looking for a good time at a reasonable price? Scorn mixed with desire, that's our lot. Such is the mystery of lust. So often the instruments of lust, as all instruments of higher pleasure, are condemned as frequently as they are sought after. I'd go on about the hypocrisy of a hedophobic society, but I think I'd rather just kill me a man.
Welcome to the Temple of Beauty. And am I not beautiful, oh man? Look at my hair, black as a moonless night. Look into my eyes, deep pools of desire. Look at my complexion, pale white and glistening.
You bastard!
Welcome, Initiate, to the Temple of the Mystery of Pain. The mystery is thus. The simple manipulation of nerves may break one man, and yet leave another unmoved. The physiology is the same. All nerves sing alike, yet the results differ. The question can only be answered by paradox. Although the body functions according to the tenets of science, the invocation of pain is an art. My implements are simple things, like a painter's brushes, from which beautiful complexities spring, different stories brought forth from different canvases, with the different application of a stroke. On the table to explore this blessed mystery yourself. Otherwise, I'll have to teach you the lesson myself.
Welcome to the Temple of the Mystery of Charity.
What mystery is there in charity, for God's sake?
The mystery is thus. Any act of charity is an act of selfishness. For in any charitable exchange, one must take from another, and one is always left the poorer. A feeling. Discouraging answer, initiate. You see, though I am needy, I do not consider myself a beggar so much as a taker. I require charity, initiate. Give me something. I'm a taker, initiate. Allow me to take you there.
This is the Temple of the Mystery of Mercy. You're just in time for our little retirement ceremony. As part of your initiation, you'll be required to execute them. That's how old people are disposed of in the lodge. And each member is expected to do his share. In that case, you'll have to get past me. The lodge is the mystery of mercy. Life is a competition, and mercy a perversion of the natural order. When you extend mercy to a competitor, you give him a second chance to beat you.
Welcome to the inner sanctum, big guy.
Principal Harold?
Within the inner sanctum, you will address me as Vice Muck Harold, second in command to the Grand Muckety Muck. He of the Fez and Buffalo Ham, the secret handshake, the funny passwords. Only fitting, given that my role has always been that of an educator, and Harvest is one big classroom.
What do you mean?
You'll have to kill me to find out what he means, big guy.
This is always a great moment when the initiate passes over the threshold and becomes a brother.
Stephanie?
I believe you have something for her. Ring the bell and win a prize for the lovely lady. Or is it win the lovely lady as your prize?
Enough games.
Agreed. Each time you climbed the rope, you caused her pain, but you always hurt the ones you monsters. And yet, you've killed monsters. Everything in Harvest is just slightly askew. This is because, as advanced as our technology is, we cannot make the sim any better than this. The subject's subconscious always warps it in unpredictable ways.
Sam?
This is nothing more than a virtual reality designed by the Harvesters to test potential members. Having successfully completed the program, you have earned the right to become a Harvester.
What the hell is a harvester?
The hand that grips the knife that stabs, the ones who move amid the crop and harvest the fruit.
You're talking about people. Killing people.
Again and again and again, I believe the technical term is serial killer. The Harvesters seek to perpetuate terror and discord for our own purposes. We do this through the random utility of murder, and we persevere through our recruitment of initiates like yourself.
You want me to become a serial killer?
Reality has been engineered to break down your resistance, to desensitize you to violence. Now you may become a Harvester and re-enter the real world, or stay in peace with young Stephanie and spend the rest of your life in the construct known as Harvest.
What is the real world at this point?
Right now, you are suspended in a sensory deprivation tank, wired to a VR deck. If you don't join us, we will terminate your life support, and you will be dead within minutes. Those last minutes, however, will seem like a lifetime lived in Harvest. You will marry Stephanie and die peacefully of old age.
You're presuming a lot.
Aside from you, she is the only real person in Harvest, suspended in a tank, jacked in just as you are. I assume you'll want to spend time together.
If I stay.
Of course, having completed your ordeal, you may leave with her as you intended and enjoy your victory. If, on the other hand, you wish to join us, the cost of exiting the lodge is the same as the cost of entering the lodge. A skull and spinal cord. Hers.
No. You couldn't kill me. These harvesters, they put people through this torture to give them a taste for killing. The way to beat them is to deny them. To live out your life here. With me. You're thinking about killing me, aren't you? Didn't you hear what he said? I do exist. If you kill me here, I'll die for real. And I'll feel all the pain, all the terror, because I'm real.
this time for real. So what will it be? Life in harvest, or life as a harvester? Choose now.
Please help me! Steve, don't do this, please!
Welcome to our order, brother.
Where are you going?
Nowhere. Nowhere at all.
What are you doing, son?
Playing harvester.
That thing? I looked at it the other day. The very thought. Breeding serial killers. It's disgusting.
It's cool.
You'll rot your mind playing games like that. Don't you know people who watch violence become violent themselves?
That's bullshit, Mom.
No, it isn't. Why do you think they started cutting the violence out of those Roadrunner cartoons?
Roadrunner cartoon. Roadrunner cartoon?